I am curious if
Oh, wait,
you
okay.
guys can hear him
I
now.
think I've got the Discord link
Nope. Okay.
in my signal. No.
So we're
Download.
having some audio
All right, Janice,
issues for
I'm going
those
to
that are
drop
watching live
the
on YouTube and
Discord
anywhere
link
else.
to you here, hopefully
We'll
momentarily.
be right with you
Okay.
momentarily,
Waiting for this
and
to
Chuck's
open
gonna
up.
get caught up on
Okay.
Discord. And in the meantime, howdy pirates, good to see you. Arr. How are the pirates this evening?
Where is it?
I actually
I'm
have an
working
account
on
there. I've
getting
never,
in.
so I
Yeah,
guess
I
I'm
heard you
logging
talking
in.
about some things. Go over a
Okay.
couple of the things that you were talking about, because there was some interesting things
Copy
that you were talking about when I first jumped on
this
there.
and just managing so many of these. Someday we'll manage less. Okay, I just messaged you that Discord link, and I'm going to drop off video. No, actually, I'm going to stay on video.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't install it yet. No, I must have. You don't have to have the app. You can get on online, right?
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah,
Where
I
are you
wanna-
guys writing smart
Yeah. So why
contracts
is it
at?
just giving me
Oh, I got a bunch of updates.
your link? Only sends me to the app.
All right.
Let me see.
All right. I'm going to let Tim know we'll be there shortly. Okay. We were originally doing this on Discord, and
Okay.
Oh,
may. Okay. Now I've got to wait for my Discord to out. Well, let's see. Do that. Are you able to get in to Discord?
who?
You, Janice.
I had to change my password. I'm logging in now.
Okay.
But your link.
Once
I
you
can't
get,
into it.
yeah, once you get in there, just let me know, and I'm going to drop off this channel that we have, the video channel, once you're in there. And I'm going to probably have to shut down some stuff on my computer too. Discord wants to update a bunch of stuff. Great.
Wait, let me see. Yeah, I'm in, and my name is True Within.
Okay.
TRU Within.
All right. I'll be over there shortly.
Nice. And are you building this on Pirate Chain, or are you building this on other chains as well, or? Okay. 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 Chuck is on his way right now, so I saw him pop off. I'm getting ready to switch over to a bit better window for all of this. But he definitely is going to be interested to talk more about this. I'm just as a quick development for us. I met this past week with the developer of Script, which is the middle layer between the BSV virtual machine and the main and like JavaScript. And he's agreed to work with me to develop a lot of our smart contracts. And he's worked directly with. He's actually has a video series where he did technical training with Dr. Craig Wright. So he's got a ton of knowledge, and I'm really excited to be working with him, Jill. So that was kind of a big development for us this week. Yeah. Yep. Yes. Here comes the other part of me. You are here. Uh-oh. I might not have audio, so we might have to do a quick fix, so keep talking. It might be coming from me. I'm working on it. Hold on a second. Let me see. I'm working on it. Give me a second.
What have you been up to, Chuck?
Uh, mostly family stuff, but today I kind of just decided I had to get out and start doing stuff again, so I tore down some of the old walls and put up some new wall to make the behind the fireplace. I've got a wood stove out here in this studio or shed. If you want to get really fancy, it's the studio shed. Right? It's like, but yeah. So just getting ready for winter, and so I feel a lot better because I've got some insulation, so I won't freeze down here in South Carolina. Okay, I wouldn't exactly freeze in South Carolina, anyways, but
Yeah, it's
I've
freaking
never
cold
been.
up here in Oregon.
I'd
I
imagine.
wish it was cold here. It's
I'm
just like
freezing. I'm like
It's
piling on
warm
the
here.
jackets.
here it's
No, you
warm,
always
no
have a
rain,
fan.
blue
Oh, it's pouring
skies. Like,
outside too. It's pouring.
Is
oh,
it?
I'm
Again?
still jealous
It's
every
still
single time
pouring.
you tell me.
I know, right?
I will say, so it's dark right here, and I think that. All right, I've been to like the mountains in Colorado, and that kind of rivals it. But I think that the night skies might be best in South Carolina. But I've not been to what's Big Sky? Where is that? That's not Wyoming, right? What is Big Sky? And has anybody been
Big
there?
sky.
Where
I
you
have
can see
not.
a lot
Big
of
sky.
sky.
No. One of the states is called that. I can't remember which state it is right now off the top of my head. So where's the best midnight
Never heard
sky
that.
that you've ever seen?
Arizona.
Mm,
For me, but I haven't traveled much. I've been to Arizona, California, Oregon, and Washington.
Yeah, middle of the desert
And
out here in
in
Cali.
Hawaii. Oh, you know what? Actually, Hawaii was really.
Yeah,
Lake Island.
mine was when I lived in Cal City because there's just no light pollution out there, so I could go out every single night and you'd see the freaking Milky Way right above you. It was beautiful.
It's Montana's the big sky state. What was that?
Montana it is. Let us go to Montana and stay
Let-
ourselves.
Let us go to Montana.
So
Chuck,
how do
you-
we?
you could- You could throw your video on in the Discord. If you click that video button, then you'll show up there on the screen, sir.
Oh, I still haven't done that.
Nope.
No.
You're
Lower
just a
left
green
hand
box.
corner.
What is
You want
going
to see your
on here?
beautiful face.
Oh, there we go. Oh wow,
This Chuck.
camera now.
Well,
So
hello.
See, now I got you all
About
messed
this.
up. Hold on. I'll fix
There you
it.
go.
Unbelievable. All right. Well, now this is even so much better. But yeah, now I got to figure out why I've got the wrong camera set.
There we go. All right.
Boy.
I gotta readjust a little bit, but we're getting there.
Yeah, we're styling now, guys.
Yeah.
So much better, right?
So,
I
what do
figured
you
out
want
why my camera's been on a constant readjust
Why is
for like
that?
the last
Yeah.
4 weeks. The cord wasn't all the way plugged in.
Oh, really? What the heck?
That was
That's
it?
funny.
I mean, it's been
Wow.
fine. So it's readjusted a couple times tonight, but that was like with Athena.
What-
So
hmm,
make sure your cords are
interesting.
plugged in all the way.
Yeah.
Funny.
So, what's the topic for the night, Chuck?
So what would actually? So our topic, our theme for the night, and I gotta figure out why am I like this is just so weird now. So our theme for the night is mark your territory. All right, and I say this because as I explained to Tim earlier, let's see if I can find it. Easiest explanation is not so simple. Okay. Tonight's theme is mark territory. Be a good human and do as dogs do. Pee and poop where each other pees and poops to know we are friendly enough to share a crappy domain. So that's our theme for tonight.
Is that what they're doing?
That goes right along with our talk about drinking your own piss right before you came on, huh? I guess we're talking
We're
about
too
poo
far
poo and
off.
pee pee all night, huh?
So
Audio all night.
yeah, we'll be here all night. Okay, let's it's not picking up the correct camera, and I don't understand why.
You go to your
I did.
settings and go to your video. If you
Yeah,
go
no, I
to
did that.
setting, and then you selected the correct one on your video.
Yeah. Anyways,
Hey Chuck,
this-
it's probably because you have it set up on the OBS or something.
I use OBS. I'm using OBS right now. If you set up your camera to be OBS virtual camera, you can stream it right through to
You might
Discord.
be right, Tim. You might be right.
Yeah, you know.
Set up your Discord to use OBS virtual camera, Chuck. And then just use OBS to stream into Discord.
Yeah, well, it's not there right now. So you guys carry on while I figure out what I'm doing.
Well, we want you to expand upon your urination metaphor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
since we were talking about it.
yeah, and you know, I guess we could all be trying to try out to be like a new front person for some band, and the thing can become like urinating and mouth of the people who show up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean some cool music stuff lately, right? I mean, just a few
She marked
dead
her
people.
territory right on
Yeah,
stage.
exactly. Yeah, right there, mark your territory. No, I just kind of think the whole thing. So we had some grand dogs down for a while, and the neighbor dogs like when the grand dogs come down because they're visiting. But for me, it's like you're constantly just cleaning up a whole yard of shit because where one dog shits, the other one wants to shit because it's like, no, this is my domain, right? It's like, but they figure out over time that the friendly people share the shitty domain, and then we were talking about the ideas like how do we help people not to step in the shit as we walk through the domain. So that was all the behind the scenes conversation, which was all about, tonight. And truly what our title was for tonight was Engage, because we are actually ready to send out the alpha user requests to you guys. And we actually do have a little video that we could show if you wanted to see like kind of what the steps are. But so this is sort of a 3-step process presented to the audience to the user as it's actually like an 8-step process, but sort of 3-step on our side, but like 2-step on the user side. And the first thing is really just to get in and create an account on the cloud. And it really is literally like putting your name and information in. I do want to do some changes, and actually I thought it'd be kind of fun to ask you guys this. So Tim, could you like pull up in that video that you made tonight and like pause it where the screen is for the information that people would have to put in?
Yeah, give me a minute.
All right, thanks. So yeah, I mean that's kind of our fun thing is that we're kind of at that point, and I love watching, what's going on with you, Jake. It's like so there's another guy,
This is what
Phil
you'll
Coleman,
find when you go
and
to
his name is GodCloud. If you guys haven't connected with him yet, he's like this other guy that we are sort of friends with, and he's just like blown up in the NFT world. Now,
Yeah.
he is kind of all ready to play the game that they throw at him, right? And he's good with that. So it's been interesting to watch him, and he's talking about throwing a yacht party down in Miami, right, to kind of talk about their NFT stuff that they're doing. And I'm like, okay, money just is no longer real in any stretch of the imagination.
Mm-hmm.
Some wild stuff going on. All right. I don't know. I'm just like rambling right now. I don't know what's going on.
So someone named True Within is asking, how do you hear the
Sure.
live? So I got to describe to them right now.
That's her. She was all excited about joining the pirates and asked if she had anything to fear. I said only the victorious one.
Only the victorious rebel.
So Truth Within, Janice, are you here?
Not quite yet. I just
Okay.
told her to join the galley voice chat.
Got it. Want to change your background? There we go. Let's try this one.
Let's see if I can create invite. No, that just does the whole entire project.
I'm sitting on my laps, Mom.
You're sitting on your laps, Mom?
She's like yelling to let Ender know because he's in the other room yelling for her.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to help your friend get in here. Let's see. Let me
I'm not the only
screenshot
one
this
with
for
kids
her.
running through.
It's so weird.
Here, let me screenshot the menu for her.
This. Now my eyebrows. Now my eyes. Just like that. Now the other eye. No, with 2 hands. Like I did. No, put them down. Put them down.
You still here, Chuck? Or
I
are you
am, but-
marking
Okay.
your territory somewhere?
Exactly. No, I don't know what's going on right now.
I'm trying to help
Technical
Janice get in
difficulties
here.
still.
Yeah, this is really kind of odd. I'm really kind of...
So I do have that
Oh.
shared, Chuck, just when you're ready.
Okay, so while I'm trying to get Janice in. So the form that we have, like, this is just a form that we had established a long time ago. And basically, right, you need a minimum amount of information to kind of put something out on the blockchain. Like, what I'm thinking is like an identity name. Then there has to be the means of communication, right? So it's either an email or like phone number or something like that. So, and I think I think that's it. Let's say there. And then there's some like other questions that we would kind of ask. So my question to you guys is, what would you want as the minimum? You have to have some sort of identifiable, right? The email.
Hey, there is a blockchain that's actually doing this. I invested in a while ago. I used to mine. It's called Varus, and it's called the Varus ID. And they actually have you mint your identity to the blockchain. So you might want to look into how they're doing things.
There's also one called Gravatar.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just...
It's okay for them. It says to create an ID, you have to first check if that ID exists. If not, then you click on commit name. It looks like they don't really take much as far as like your information.
Right. So
just
like
using nicknames.
And basically, as I look at it, your initial, let's call it a character on a blockchain, right, is sort of what we're talking about here. Is it doesn't have to be yourself, but it could be yourself, or it could be just like any other, I don't know, profile that we might have on any other channel. But but then the flip side was like, what other questions would we kind of like to know as we're engaging with people? Like, if you were truly starting to bring people on to your platform, like what kind of questions, would you feel comfortable asking your community in advance of further engagement, right? That was so. Janet was on tonight, and she has a background. I don't see that she's here yet, but okay. She had a background in
to help.
Yeah, she had a background in law to a certain degree, paralegal, that kind of piece, and it did become just a very interesting conversation to think about how to form communal contracts, right? Distributed communal contracts. That's an interesting conversation.
Okay, let me send. I'm trying to make this as easy as possible for her. So I just wrote on it with my little digital pen here, and I wrote "click here" in the deck chat.
All right. Well, you guys are still playing with.
Oh, she's in here. Janice is in here now.
If you're talking about me,
I thank you so much. Stop talking about her. Okay, yeah, she's here. Okay, good. Oh,
cool. Yeah, I was trying to say, I'm writing on this to try to make it as easy as possible. Because when you first use Discord, it's like, how do I get in?
Well, I hit what you highlighted, but then I didn't realize I had to allow the whatever had me allow the speaker or the to take the video. I kept saying deny because it's a habit of mine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Nice to meet you. I'm Jake. This is Andy here, and then we got
Hi.
Then we got Felicia is the other girl that just came back here. The guy with the dragon is Wizard, and then over there, the other guy with the profile picture where he's standing up is Edgar. Chick forever. His name's Edgar. So yeah, this is our little pirate crew here, and we're basically we want to create freedom for as many people as possible by creating a network of self-sufficient communities that all utilize private blockchain technology in order to trade goods and resources, and also use that same blockchain as the governance system. We're talking about basically using permaculture principles to create food forests, natural homes, green energy, animal systems, aquacultures. Combine all these technologies together to grow and expand a network of self-sufficiency, which involves freeing as many people as possible from the chains that bind them to the 9-to-5 reliant on consumer culture lifestyle. I mean, in the smallest sense of the idea, it gets way beyond that. But yeah, that's just the basics of it.
sounds really interesting. Whoops.
And they're also our favorite social commentarians.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're kind of against a lot of the things going on in culture nowadays. Most of it is, a lot of it has to do with the rich and wealthy and powerful trying to take advantage of the poor and squeeze as much as they can out of us, whether it's energy, money, time. And we were just talking about, before you guys got on here, we were talking about some of the crypto influencer scams going on in the NFT world. You got some huge names like Gary Vee, Jake Paul, Logan Paul, even Mr. Beast is involved in these crypto scams. Mr. Beast, the biggest YouTuber right now, biggest YouTuber ever maybe, he goes and gives millions of dollars to charity. He's got this Save the Seas campaign going on right now. But what do him and his friends do? They were talking about this group of 30 influencers got together, created a monopoly on CryptoPunks to artificially boost the prices of them, and then sold them and dumped on people for a quick 10x. So these influencer groups are using their money and power to artificially inflate NFT projects and then dump them on their fans, thereby just straight up stealing money from their supporters. Crazy.
It's the whole space. We were just talking about before this the Craig Wright trial. I'm going to tell you, this Craig Wright versus Kleeman is basically, if Craig Wright is Satoshi Nakamoto, all the world basically ends as we know it. And if he's not, well, then the guy's the biggest scam artist that ever existed, and happens to be having one of the leading blockchain architectures right now. And you're like, okay, but when you get deep into the stories behind all of these, it's nuts. The amount of inflation. Like I actually tend to think that the reason Bitcoin is maybe at $65,000 is because its biggest pump is the fiat currency system. I think that they may be literally just flowing money into that over the years, and it's the same. I mean, it's nuts. It's more than Wild West out there.
Yep. And you got a lot of the big whales like what's his name, Michael Saylor with MicroStrategy. You got BlackRock. All of these whales are artificially boosting the price of BTC. People are buying it and they dump on them. I mean, this is all a lot of these cryptos are just operating like huge Ponzi schemes, and that's what I don't like. I love the technology, but I don't like the way they're using it.
But there's going to be corruption in any place, especially new place. What's the plan around that?
What I'm saying, guys, that's why we can create this platform so we can actually get, because I also noticed that I've been working with Ceox for a while now, and they're really like, I told them like, people losing like 6 Solana because a guy made a copy of our webpage and say it's a big sale, and I was thinking that was one guy. Think about the 10x other guys who does the same thing, and one Solana is worth like, what, $250 right now?
Yeah.
Think about the billions and millions of people have been scammed from every day, and there is no system, there is no law, there is no one protecting them. If you go to Google and write, what do I do if I get scammed or my money ends up in the wrong wallet? Fuck you, we don't do nothing, and you are to blame, and you should write better. And that's the same attitude these companies have. Ceox, for example, I asked them, what are we going to do about it? I was like, furious. And they're like, put notice, and we're going to tell people to read better. But dude, we can have a neighborhood patrol. We can be an example. We can integrity. We can show some fucking balls, guys. And they're like, nope. And I'm like,
yep.
What? And I'm saying, guys, we can make this. We can make this platform.
It's like we landed on a new planet, and like there's no rules, and it kind of everything's kind of forming through that. Although there are things in this reality transferring right into that reality, so it still is the Wild West, like where, they might be all these corrupt people might be transferring their idea in here and still trying to grab a hold of that manipulated mind that they've formed in this reality that we all live in. But like there's opportunity here to really like shift that even if it is only a majority of us, I guess. But
Yeah. See, that's why rather than thinking that we can alter or change the current system, I believe the current system was set up to be like this on purpose to keep the control and the power of the few. We need to stop trying to work within it and create a whole new system outside of this system. And that's kind of what we're talking about here. We don't want to have to be reliant on 9 to 5s and shopping at these centralized stores, corporations, centralized farming operations, feeding people in cities like LA, where you got 4 million people. And unknowns to a lot of people is Los Angeles County has 13 million people total, and they're all reliant on external water sources. We ship all of our water in from the Colorado River and the Owens River. We literally redirect the entire Owens River into the aqueduct system in order to give all of Los Angeles County water. That's not a good system. That's a system that keeps people reliant on centralized operations. If those operations weren't going, none of those people there would be able to eat or have any water for themselves. And that's why they try to keep us in these cities rather than spreading out into these more, like permacultures and
false
eco villages.
illusion.
Yeah, because when they
Yeah.
keep us trapped, then we're reliant on them, right? We have to go through them for all of our basic needs. And that's what they want. That keeps us going and turning the wheels for 50 years until we're ready to retire. And then they put us out to pasture and take our frickin' retirement away from us. Oh yeah, you're working your whole life for Social Security. Let's pull it right from under your feet when you're at the age where you actually need it. And that's what your
It's like
guys' generation.
But
That's
hey,
what
like a
like our
downer cow.
yeah.
but if you comply and you're good, you can be part of receiving the universal basic income. It's coming soon to a city near you.
Yeah, as long as you get your vaccine and you go along with every single thing we say, you don't get to have any freedom. You get to choose from a list of approved sources. And if you do that, we'll give you everything to survive, just like a freaking cattle. What's the difference between vaccinating your cattle and putting them to work until you've extracted all of their labor, until you've milked them dry, and then you put them out to pasture? Same thing with us. That's what they're doing. We
So
are
yeah,
born into a system where we're taught that that is what life is supposed to be like, and we're trained on it. You sit at your desk for 6 hours, and then 7, and then 8, and all that is training for the wage slavery that robs you of your next 50 years.
yeah. And the other day I was listening to this Canadian prepper guy on YouTube. I hadn't really tuned into him so often, but lately I'm like, oh, this is interesting. And it seems like he's kind of switched to a little bit more social commentary. But he actually introduced me to a new term that I had not heard before, and he spoke of the race. I guess we'll call them the Terrans, Terran, and that basically
That's from StarCraft.
is okay. All right, so that's probably where that came from then, right?
Those are
And
the
then
Earthlings in StarCraft. Those are the humans. You got the Terrans, the Zerg, and the Protoss, and the Terrans are the human ones.
okay, so that's what he was referring to was the people who choose to sort of live. They may end up participating in the metaverse, if you will, but largely are going to be more about the Earth and this kind of natural life that we're talking about. So he was kind of speaking in terms of like that's the one of the classes that's coming in. And then there was a whole conversation around what kind of work they would have the Terrans do for them. So when you talk about like extracting the labor, like there will seemingly be some value that the Terrans will still be giving to the people in the metaverse, but then it might just be that like that's where they continue to place their military budgets and justify pumping up their currency. I don't know.
There's a game that I used to play called We Happy Few, and it takes place in a dystopian society in like an alternate World War II where Germany won. And it takes place in the UK, and the people in the city are like the haves. Like it's the haves and the have-nots, right? So everyone in the city is forced to take these joy pills, and when they take them, they're just see everything in rainbows. Wow, life is great. Smiles all around. They're forced to wear these masks where they have a big smile on their face. And in order to be part of the society, you have to take your joy pill all the time and you have to have your mask on. Anybody who rejects it has to live outside of society in squalor where the buildings are blown up, there's no food, etc., etc. So as long as you go in this game, as long as you go along with the propaganda, you're allowed to. It's like basically based on 1984 and books like that, Brave New World. It really gets into that, and that's really what we're living right now. If you're willing to lie to yourself and say, oh, I'm happy because I can go to my favorite concert, I can take my vaccine, da-da-da, you get to be part of the society. You get to participate in it. And if you don't, if you reject that, you want to be free, you're not wearing your happy mask with your frickin' joy pill in your mouth, you're rejected from the society. We're literally living it.
So
Austria is separating people now. Austria has separating vaccinated from unvaccinated, and they're making the unvaccinated stay home. They're not allowed to leave their homes, which is a step farther than Australia and Canada. It's where the USA is going if Americans don't step up, because the government's not going to stop it.
So let's talk about our future us, and what does that look like? And now that we have to start kind of staking our claim or marking our territory, if you will, in the metaverse, the question becomes, what do you look like in this, in this forthcoming technology? And the reason I brought up the prepper guy earlier is that he gave a really good point. He's like, as much as I don't want to be a part of that world, there's a lot of wisdom in knowing what your enemy is thinking and what they are doing, and actually interacting in a manner that puts you in the marketplace, and you can there's always that kind of mediator that has kind of brings strength to the Terrans between the upper class, right? Whatever you want to call them. And but his point was that you're going to kind of sort of have to choose your world in the metaverse and how you'll decide to live, and how much augmented reality, and and then how much time outside. And so really, what does your life kind of look like with the metaverse? So what does your life look like in the metaverse?
This is a conversation we just had in our last meeting, actually. Like, we were thinking about, the permaculture and the metaverse, do they really combine with each other? And what would I live like if I actually had that land? And honestly, if I had the land that I was completely self-sufficient, I would probably want to be in nature the majority of the time, but I would still go, like, the metaverse can be a place where we all connect with our community. We can create our own metaverses and places to hang out and disseminate information. Before you got on, I posted a link in the Galley group and in the Galley channel in this thing for a Minecraft uncensored library, right? So Minecraft, this group called what are they called? Something Without Borders. What was it? It's the uncensored No, it's it is Reporters Without Borders, right? So yeah, you got Doctors Without Borders, you got Dentists Without Borders. This is Reporters Without Borders, and they have something called the Minecraft Uncensored Library, where they have thousands and thousands of banned books from all over the world that you can download this Minecraft server, load it on your computer no matter where you're at, and read the information. Their algorithms and bots can't really go into Minecraft and check what these books are and ban them from these countries, so they can easily use a VPN or whatnot, go download it, and get any book they want. And their mission statement is, in many countries, websites, social media, and blogs are controlled by oppressive leaders. Young people, in particular, are forced to grow up in systems where their opinion is heavily manipulated by governmental disinformation campaigns. But even where almost all media is blocked or controlled, the world's most successful computer game is still accessible. Reporters Without Borders uses this loophole to bypass internet censorship to bring back the truth within Minecraft. That right there is a metaverse into itself. It doesn't have blockchain yet. It's not as expansive as what we're trying to create, but think about that concept and expand upon it for what we're doing. You know what I mean?
Just the homesteaders are increasing immensely. There's people the preppers, but these are regular homesteaders. People are leaving states like New York and California and Illinois and going out to Tennessee and Kentucky and buying land, and everything they have they're self-sustained completely, 100%. That's what people's response, I think, is to what's going on.
Yeah, and we're thinking that our power is better in numbers if we were to all come together and create these communities rather than trying to do it all individually and having our own individual homestead, which would work. I think that coming together so that we have more of like a division of roles. A lot of people specialize in different things. We had this guy JM on the chat earlier. He says he's really good at construction, anything to do with electric or plumbing or anything like that. So if he was within a community, he could easily handle all of those things, whereas there might be someone who loves to milk goats and make cheese, or someone who loves to deal with the bees, or things like that. So having a community creates that safety net where you know each role is going to be taken care of, takes the pressure off the individual or even the family. We grew in tribes. Our race is used to community. You know, humans, and up until this point, community was the central thing within our lives. And now they separated us all. They even separated the families. We all spend time in different rooms from each other, doing different things. And before it wasn't like that. Like Rebel Post,
are all in different homes too. Generations all used to be in the same homes. They were called mansions.
Multi-generational families, even before now, that was the thing. After tribes, we had multi-generational families sharing farmland. We don't do, and within the greater community too. They would have a farm next to another one, they'd trade crops, trade seeds, etc. And the families would all work together. They've taken that away from us because the lack of community is one of their biggest ways to control us. If we're all separated and we're all have a different view of the world, then they're going to be able to manipulate us to do whatever they want, especially with all the algorithms and Facebook and shit like that nowadays. I mean, they can literally target each one of us individually directly and put the perfect slew of propaganda in front of our face to make us so separate from everyone around
against
us.
one another.
Yeah.
You see it with the COVID thing.
There's definitely profiles and facial recognition on every single one of us. I mean, into great detail.
Yep.
And breaking up with the family is what I've been saying for years, because it starts with the family, then it goes into society, and then the bigger community. What you're saying is dead on.
Yep, and I point this out to people. They put the programming into the children's shows so they can normalize it. I always point out to people, Toy Story, what's the background story in Toy Story? Right? There's a mom who is downgrading from a 2-story house to a 1-story house, a single mom where there's no father in the picture for all of the movies, and she can't afford this 2-story home anymore. Right? And so she downgrades. And you don't see the dad in any of the pictures, right? They have family pictures, but it's just the mom and the kid. So, it's this story in the background going on for all the subconscious minds of all the children to pick up. Oh, it's normal. Look, they're a single family. Da 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 da. Yep. And you see this same programming over and over and over. Around the same time when I discovered that Toy Story background, I'm watching one of the newer Jurassic Parks that was around that time, probably like 10 years ago. And two kids are in this like bubble going through Jurassic Park, one of those little cart things, and they're talking to each other. I'm just so sad since mom and dad split up. And like, why do you gotta put that dialogue in this movie? To freaking normalize single parent households, to make people feel like this, oh, they're going through it too. This is just a normal thing. I always say, Leave It to Beaver changed to Married with Children and Home Alone. Our parents' generation, they were growing up and watching Leave It to Beaver. So you had the mom in the kitchen with the apron. You had the dad going to work. Oh, don't do that, Beaver, But then that switched to Home Alone with the parents just constantly at each other's throat. The Simpsons. Married with Children, etc. You had culture reflect that, right? So you had people getting programmed to separate from their families and act in this way. And it was such a gradual thing that they were able to roll it out and we didn't even notice. And then after that, they went straight to the reality shows. Separate us even more. Look, it's all about me now. Look at me. Me.
Competition.
Yeah. They know exactly what they're doing and how to manipulate all of us. They pull on our emotions and they have us right where they want us. And what do? We give them all of our information to make it even better. We go on Facebook and say, this is what I believe, this is what I think, this is what I like, this is what I don't like. They don't even need to.
College kids are massively manipulated. I have a son in college, and he's a total lipster. He wasn't before he started college. They are ruining minds.
Yep, they are taking and they're manipulating them into just accepting the bullshit. They're literally lacing all of the food in society with estrogen, right? There's billions of
the shots, the mRNA shots. They're putting it in food now. I saw 2 verifiable videos. They're starting with lettuce and one other produce, saying you can do this at home now. Our food source. That's why the homesteaders are growing. You got to know what's in your food. Congress.
Another reason why we need to grow all our own.
Right. We have no idea what's in our food.
Yep. Even if it's organic, you don't know what they're using is because there's organic approved pesticides, and also organic food only has to be, I think it's 95% or 98% organic. So they can still have 2% of non-organic ingredients, which they put those natural flavors and all those high chemical things right in there to make it taste better.
Which totally are implementing their plans. Implementing their plans all in every little crevice they possibly can.
Yep.
There was one congressperson. He's a Democrat who about a month ago came out and said he wanted to legislature so families in the United States can only have one kid. Everything is turning China.
What is this, China?
China, when they had all these boys with no one to marry and have kids with. That's why they increased it.
And there was a bunch of, basically they would have abortions or kill the infants if they were turning out girls because it was more prideful in China to have a male and pass on the family line.
Absolutely. There's a documentary on how, I saw it recently on how all these boys grew up and there's no one to have children with. So now they have a crisis.
Yeah. They're messing with the whole dating aspect for sure. People can barely connect with each other. Like it's all about like they have the sexual part of it all like skewed, and then this whole idea of like a lot of women are like the expectations that they're seeking from a male or vice versa is all kind of skewed as well. Instead of like getting to know somebody and like actually seeing if you're compatible with, they have this like idea of like some celebrity idea of like some archetype figure that they want to spend the rest of their life with or whatever the idea is.
Yeah, they target our vulnerabilities and use them against us. Like they straight up
through Facebook. What you said through Facebook, that's how they're doing it.
Oh yeah, like I said, we tell them exactly who we are, and they tailor their algorithm to give us the perfect slew of propaganda that shapes us into who they want us to be. And we tell them whether we're codependent and obsessed with relationships. So what do they show us? Bunch of relationship memes, happy couples, things to make us feel lonely. You tell them that you're into hip hop and money and things like that. They're going to show you a bunch of luxury items, a bunch of girls shaking their butts and things like that. And the algorithm is just so tailored to target individuals. And it's all to herd us into separate pens like we're sheep, right? Like if you're a sheep that likes this, here's the pen for you. I call it the mouse traps in society. You can imagine that old game Mousetrap. They have different types of cheese that we like the taste of. And we go in there and we eat the cheese. This tastes good. And we're caught in that trap for the rest of our life,
So earlier, Janice was kind of talking about, we were talking a little bit about the distributed autonomous organizations type thing, and we got into kind of partnerships and this whole decentralized idea. And how do you come to work together? And then specifically, how do you come to work together because we're all bringing such ugly messiness to the table, and all of the hurt and like how do you get through it? Because one of the things like what we're doing right here, which is it's therapeutic, right? There's a certain amount of strength that comes from talking with people who okay, see at least reasonably as you see and understand that there's harm that comes from it. But one of the things that harm also does is sort of keeps us focused on it, where we end up talking about the harm more than we talk about the
Yeah.
future.
Yeah, I
and
went
that's
to this self-realization thing a long time ago, and for a weekend, and it was up in Santa Rosa in a cabin with a bunch of people, and we would like split off in groups and bring up these traumas. Like people would be around the one person, each person would take turns in this group, and a trauma would come out, and like you can kind of get aggressive and scream and be like in a safe place and let that out. Then after you bring up these pent up emotions and bring them out, you do these breathing techniques. And you talk about these things and you detox your body and do all those kinds of things. Those are like,
yeah.
since we store so much of these emotions, we need to literally shake them out. Just like an animal, when an animal gets some kind of trauma happen to it, what does it do? It shakes its entire body and like
That to me is
releases
one of the reasons why the natives had a lot of different dance ceremonies and a lot of different things like that. They would get together and literally exercise those demons, so to speak. The Ceox would have the Day of Grievances before their main dances, where they would go up to each other if they had problems with them, and they'd say, "Brother, I am shamed for this reason," and they would sit there and talk it out. And they weren't allowed to participate in the dances without clearing up those negative energies first. If you don't have a strong, solid community that you actually trust and you feel safe around, you're way less likely to actually open up about the things bothering you and get help for them. So by holding these things in, we create an issue where mental illnesses just grow and infiltrate pretty much every single person. You know, if we don't have a way to actually express what we're feeling to people we trust, like right here, then we're shut down. And when they shut us down, they've got us under control.
I keep thinking that we could have meetings and like come together and like really like actually change these meetings to something more like interactive where we're doing more healing like that and solution based, because I do find that we start talking about the traumas and the things that are going on quite a bit more than we even give a chance to these healing aspects. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I honestly think that's an important part of building a bond and trust with each other. If we can share all of these different experiences here and know that we have a safe place to chat about them, then we're more able to work together to come up with the solutions. Especially if we agree on all the problems that are going on, then that means that we can come to some common ground and find a solution that benefits all of us. You know?
Yeah, it's interesting. Years ago, we I can't remember how we got introduced to it, but there was this great video that came. Some doctor of education did this study over in India where they brought a computer over to this basically out in the middle of nowhere and kind of left it at a computer and see what the kids would do. And the kids actually taught themselves the computer. So they would kind of replicate this experiment time and again, and they would make it a little bit more, what is this, and what can you do with it, to the point that these kids literally started creating, or they called self-organized learning environments. But that's what they gave it to. That is that the groups of kids coordinated themselves into interests and would literally begin to dissect things, but to the point there that at one point in time, they were given a computer that they could then work. If they went far enough in understanding the computer, then they could connect that computer kind of to the internet, and from there they would learn. And not quite the internet, but something very specific. And in the end, they said, so what? They got frustrated, and they were asked, like, well, why did you get frustrated? And it had reached a point where they actually began studying different parts of like the heart and biology, and they were getting stopped at the same point like our scientists were getting stopped, right? Understand, like they were expressing like, we don't understand this. And this was just a bunch of kids who allowed themselves to self-organize and learn together. And because they did this, it was just incredibly kind of prosperous and healing in many ways, because they found the value within one another. And I think that that's a big part of what the next economies are going to look like. And I think you're right, Mercy, is that like you do have to kind of have that sort of intentional agenda. We've been trying to do that more on our podcast now, which is why we segment into hours. Is we've sort of segmented the first hour into technology, the second hour into sort of games and markets and healing, and then this hour is sort of our social commentary with you guys. But I find that having the agenda-driven conversations does make sure that we stay focused on some of the things that we have to stay focused on, like the healing, and that we give, we make room for it. We make it intentional, as you're kind of building these different things.
I like that you brought that up. I've been thinking about that personally too, because I feel like sometimes we do like end up re-talking about some things, and there are aspects I think we should experiment and like bring forward like some kind of practices like that, even if it was for like 10 minutes, 20 minutes of our, gathering.
Like a little group meditation session to start off our day.
Or breathing. Like we could start with like maybe some kind of specific breathing, like explain what the breathing is and like, start there and then like.
Or like how Quail Springs before how they have dinner together, they have gratefulness circle and everyone goes around and talks about one thing they were grateful for that day, and that keeps your mind focused on the positive rather than the negative. Keeps you appreciating life.
We could start, it helps to get some work done and kind of move our thing forward,
I think that's what all this is about, is we all have to figure out that, look, we're all tired of the way society is running. It exploits us, makes us feel empty, takes advantage of our vulnerabilities, and all coming to those conclusions, we can come together regardless of our, like I said, regardless of our religion, race, creed, doesn't matter. We all come together on the idea that we need to drop all those differences and create a better world for the future. That starts by no longer being forced to participate in a system we no longer want to participate in, or that we shouldn't have been forced to in the first place.
Frustrated about it even. We don't deserve this for ourselves to continue to be frustrated about it, because it's been a lifetime already. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
That's the key point. Is it's exhausting to keep reliving it, so why do we keep reliving it, right? And I think that that's kind of the important point, when it comes to any sort of like mental illness or emotional, let's say emotional abuse. It's like you sort of have to begin to recognize it when the past is still hurting you and let it go as quickly as possible, right? And like confront that.
Yep.
You have to go backwards. You can go forwards. When it comes to I'm a lifetime emotional healer. Emotional abuse has no physical scars. It's often swept under the rug and denied. And you got to go back before you can go forward. And also, when people are responsible for their own stuff, they're vested in it. And everybody brings skills to the table. Everybody.
Yes.
And in the corporate world, they're treated like they don't matter, but everybody has skills. Yes. And you come with this skill set, and you have to have a mindset of diversity, even if you don't agree. So we're all damaged in some way or another. And to me, the best way to get at it is directly, because I'm direct. And so, not everybody is. There's no right and wrong way, but to be able to understand yourself, figure yourself out, how you got there, where you're going, gives you the most stable mind. Doesn't mean you're not going to have bad days. Doesn't mean bad things aren't going to happen, but your reaction will be different, and you'll work smarter. Your contributions will be smarter. Your ability to deal with stress, and so for me, I'm very impatient. To deal with those things is better. And with the society right now is just doing nothing, self-medicating. They have this feeling of learned helplessness, in my opinion.
Yep.
And then there's people, like this group, who want to make a difference, who want to do something, who want to go back. You mentioned the Indians. They didn't waste anything. When they hunted, they used every bit of that carcass, the skin, the guts, everything. That's how I think it was meant to be. They made their own medicines. You could make anything with the wild God gave us all this wild vegetation. I've been looking into that too. We don't even need big pharma for.
No, we don't.
Nope.
No, I know.
Yep.
I think
they take advantage.
Yeah, they've removed those. They've removed those knowledge of those technologies from us, so that we're reliant on their widgets rather than showing us how food is thy medicine, like Hippocrates says. They feed us a bunch of processed bullshit to purposely damage us. Why don't they regulate the food we eat? Why don't they, they're sitting here mandating vaccines. Why don't they mandate that these companies stop putting so much bullshit in our food so our immune systems actually work properly in the first place?
There's only really one portion of the store that you should be shopping in for food.
Yeah.
And that's the produce.
Yeah, I know.
And you shouldn't even be shopping there. You should be going to your
You should
frickin'
only
garden.
be walking around
Yeah, I
like the
know.
outside. If you have to go to a store though, you should
Yeah.
only be walking around the outside. You should never be going down the aisles. The aisles do
Yeah.
not have anything you need.
You're right.
Yeah, it's the truth.
That shit is so bad for you.
Mm-hmm.
I know they teach everybody to disrespect the reproductive system on so many levels, and including with like genetically modified seedless kind of. I mean, if it got that way naturally, cool.
Don't get that
but the ones that
watermelon.
are forced, that messes with your internal organs and your whole system, and like the future reproductions. Like the whole thing is just these corporations that seriously like take cows and artificially inseminate them, which cows are very particular about their mate, so they're basically inducing rape, so that code of rape goes into them, and then they take away all their babies, so to the point where they call them downer cows, where they pretty much like fall over and leave them to die, if not crush them in some machine. And this is shit people they're eating that. We're eating this stuff. We're consuming this. We're taking the milk and whatnot. We're eating that code. I'm not eating it, but I'm just saying the majority of people are seriously caught up in it.
And when you live in a situation like these chickens and cows and conventional animals are living, if you've ever been to Central California, you see thousands and thousands of cows living in their own shit without enough room to even move. Same with the chickens. What happens? Cortisol, stress hormone. They're sitting there stressed out their entire lives. That hormone's going into their meat, their milk, their eggs, and then we're consuming it. We wonder why our anxiety, stress, depression, and mental illness is so high. We're literally consuming mentally ill food as well. Our whole entire system.
Babies are getting times as many vaccines that I did as a kid.
Yep.
They don't need any of them.
So going with the idea of focusing on the solution and not reliving the problem, I want to share with you guys that I've begun cleaning up part of our land, and I'm thinking about getting guinea hens. So this will be kind of fun. Victoria's Rebel. Like, what are you in guinea hens?
Aren't guinea hens the fuzzy ones? Or are they the small ones? Those are the tiny ones, aren't they?
So apparently they're smaller than a chicken, right? But they're supposed to taste pretty decent. Like, and they've got some other things, like they're apparently a great watch flock. Like if they somewhat get used to apparently what's on the land, and if something unique comes on the land, the flock will start squawking, right? So they lay eggs, they reproduce, their food, right? They eat the land, they kind of learn their own territory. So I'm like convinced of this, that I'm going to get a guinea hen, but my wife is not convinced that I'm going to get a guinea hen. So I probably won't.
This is the type of stuff we got to be thinking about too. Conventional agriculture, conventional farming operations, those meat chickens, they can't even get up and waddle themselves 5 steps before they have to sit back down. They grow way too fast for their own legs. They have bred them to where they're not even healthy. They could not survive in any other situation. That's what we're consuming. That's what we're supporting. Every single time you buy a chicken from one of those farmers, that's like you shaking his hand and saying, "Thank you, farmer. I like what you're doing, and I'm going to support you." People don't understand that part. We are literally voting with our dollar. We're voting to keep the system in place. And that's really what we got to stop doing. We need to take those dollars and put them into systems which actually create self-sufficiency for us, so we no longer have to support those guys. That's
so in the So in the theme, because we have to jump off here, but in the theme of mark your territory, I'll say this. Wherever we have chickens down here, I think it's very interesting because they know their territory. They're very territorial birds when they are allowed to be, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you're bringing them food, they're happy to come near you. But if you're not, like, get out of their pen, get out of their way, and like in their coop thing. So I think that like there's something very healthy for all of us to sort of mark our domain and live in some sort of very healthy way of, whatever that looks like. Because chickens that can't move and are oversized, not healthy. Chickens that can move around really nice and lay some eggs, I'm happy to eat their eggs. I'm still not ready to kill a chicken and eat it. But I think,
hey, that's the thing about
the eggs.
That's the thing about a community, though. Someone will be. Someone is okay with being the butcher. And when I went to Quail Springs, it was a guy named Brenton. He's like this big 6'8", freaking bearded dude. And he literally sang this African prayer song to this chicken in the most calming tone when he cut its neck and let it bleed out. Yeah. I don't think anybody else in that system would have been able to do that properly. I could barely even watch it. But yet everyone had chicken that night.
Yeah.
You guys follow Bill Gates because he's spying up all the seeds. He wants control of the world.
Yeah, I know.
And farmland with Monsanto, who Congress also didn't punish. And
so, hey guys,
between the mosquitoes and the he's doing some evil stuff to our air.
Yeah.
Oxygen.
Yep.
Yeah, we're all aware that he definitely his parents like are part of like the Planned Parenthood, which was like population control. So they're all about that and controlling the population, controlling food supply. Of course, he's like all up in there. He's disgusting.
That's when what you were saying about reproduction, that goes straight to what he's trying to do. Stop it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, they're all in that.
That's part of why you flood the entire system with a bunch of hormones too, because if you destroy everybody's sexuality by placing the wrong hormone into them since even before birth, right? And then they're born, and what are they giving them? Oh, soy formula. All the main formula brands are straight soy or whey formula from cows that are fed a bunch of hormones and estrogens and that. So Johnson & Johnson, full of estrogen. What's going to happen?
Breast milk is like the best thing for babies. It's got over 200 different nutrients and vitamins that can't even be reproduced in a lab. Can't.
And even mothers
specifically for humans.
Even mothers nowadays, they tested the breast milk, and I think it was the umbilical cords. 100% of mothers in our society had estrogen, synthetic estrogens in their umbilical cord. So it's literally the theory is that when a baby's brain becomes awash with estrogen in the womb, it creates permanent psychosexual changes. It makes a lot of sense. You give an overabundance of estrogen to the mother, the baby's forming, what's going to happen? And they grow up confused. They grow up not knowing who they are, what they like. And then culture comes in and says, oh, you're just feeling normal. This is all normal. You were just born like that. But let's not tell them they were born like that because of environmental toxins.
DNA. Do you want to be a boy or a girl? What do you want to be?
What do you want to be? And it's not like we just poisoned your ass. Yeah.
All right, Pirates. Hey, I do have to jump off, but really, truly appreciate catching up with you guys this week. And Janice, I'm sure if you want to stay on with them, that they'd be fine with that. I don't know what your plans are, or maybe not. But I would say,
we get off probably like 5 minutes after you get off.
Okay,
say our goodbyes and then go.
So Janet, thanks for coming on, and I'll follow up with you. But we've got to kind of jump off, and always appreciate you guys. And once more, since Janet wasn't here,
yeah, thanks for coming, Chuck and Tim. And
bye, guys.
We loved having you guys here. It was awesome.
Good to talk to you. Hope to see you next week.
Yep, we will be here.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.